Hello, and welcome back to the 40% Better podcast, where we talk about all things leadership, especially in the technology world. Today, Sairan has volunteered graciously to give us her wisdom, let us know about her life, and hopefully we'll all come out of here a little bit wiser. Thanks for joining us.
Great. Thank you so much, Bill, for having me. My pleasure.
I really appreciate it. Um, if you've watched any of our podcasts, you know the first question I ask everybody is, "How did you get started in leadership?" Um, like, was it childhood sports stuff, or that's my world? Or like, how did you how did it happen?
Yes, beautiful question. I feel like I started when I decided in my teenage to be a swimming coach. I loved to swim when I was young. I started very early, I think like first grade or second grade, being a professional swimmer. And
Uh-huh.
when I became a teenage, I knew that I'm able to coach others for swimming in Middle East and back in Iraq. So I feel like I got that team building or leadership skills since I took that passion into skills and responsibilities, saying passion is not enough. I have to make that swimming skills in a way that I can coach others. And I coach teenage first, then I coach adult. And when I moved to United States back in 1996, with bachelor degree in civil engineering, I knew that in order to be a leader in my field, I need to pursue higher education. I need to get more certification and also get the skills while I'm doing the work, not just the degree and a certification that you are so proud of it. That's not enough to be a leader. You have to be really hands on. You have to really involve in a lot of, um, networking, meeting, workshop, and failing. I fail a lot. Like I have so many projects that I went there thinking that I'm the smart engineer. I'm gonna make everybody look less smart than me. But that's not right. You have to really go as a student just to learn because every project when you fail, instead of you just stand up again and restart it, you need to sit down a little bit with that failing pose and say, what I have learned, how can I use this lesson learned for the next project? And along all the 30 years of engineering, I can say now that I'm capable to mentor and coach other women in engineering, women in tech and STEM to learn from the lessons that I've been through.
I like that. Um, so fail. I've got to go back to the failure thing because for so many people, that's such a emotional landmine. Um, how how did you become comfortable with it and and be able to see it as the high value opportunity that it is?
So when you fail in something, even if it's not in a project, let's say in a meeting or a speaking gig or interview or anything that you want to succeed at, you have only two options. Either you can excel at it or you're gonna fail. And in both cases, no one will die. I always say that. There is no death in it, right? You're not gonna die if you fail in it. And I use this death thing. I know it's extreme. You can tell I'm from Middle East, so I use death a lot. My team member, when they said, "Oh, we made a mistake," I said, "Anybody get hurt?" They said, "No." I said, "Then we can fix it." We are not a heart surgeon. It's not that you done an operation and the patient, you made a fatal mistake and the patient end up, ending their life. But at engineering and technology, when you fail, you have two options. Either live in your head and keep thinking the ego, how comes I fail? I have master degree. I've been doing this for a long time. I can't believe I fell on it. Or ask yourself the question, what have been done wrong? What have been done? Maybe tweak or change something in order to succeed the next time. So as the lesson learns, and also we need to put our ego aside because as long with this ego in front of us, telling us that we are capable, we are leaders, and no way I will fail, no way I'll make a mistake. We're gonna make mistake regardless. Then we are not learning. Then we lost the sense of that student uh, mindset saying I'm into this project in order to learn and scale up my expertise. So it got better, Bill, with aging. I have to be honest with you. When I was younger, um, when especially women, we deal with a lot of emotion, and we are a mother, we nurture, we care for others. When something go wrong, we think it's all our fault, and we take it so personally. So when I was younger, I was taking those failing harder. I felt it's all my mistake. I'm not capable. I'm not good enough. I need more certification. I need more degree. So it was all taken in a personal way and not in a productive way. As I start, I'm aging and now I'm in my 50, I feel like it's all lesson learned. I've been through it. I failed because I was supposed to do the steps in a different way. So it doesn't bother me anymore. It's more like learning path for me. And this is how
Yeah.
it means. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It sounds like part of that is there's some there's some volume of failures that once you survive them, you're like, "Oh, wait a minute. Okay,
Okay.
I've made it through 10, 20, 50,
Yes.
100, whatever the number is."
Yes.
And then you're like, "And it didn't kill me," to your
Yes.
point, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm still here.
Yes.
What have I learned? How do I go forward? I think that's, uh in the back of my head, I'm thinking, "Okay, how do you accelerate the the for someone else, right? How can you accelerate that learning so that by the time they're 25, they they're already or 20, that they're like, "Oh, a failure, and what's the learning?" Like that, to bring that down and um to a lower age bracket, you know? Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like when I mentor the student in college, they all have the same question. They said, I'm graduating from engineering. Do you think all the door will be open for me? And my answer always is no, because having that certification or degree, a master, PhD degree, it doesn't matter. It's a plus. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying not to have it, but that's not the pathway for your success. The pathway for your success is hands on, to be on the
right.
field, to be in meeting, to be challenged, to study more, to know your facts and your numbers. And when I tell those statement to the student, they don't like it because they think just because they graduate from a you know uh, elite college, they are set for success and they can find the best job. And I tell them, even for interview, don't take it personally if you graduated and you interview 10 jobs and none of those jobs calling you. It's
Right,
discouraging. I'm not saying to laugh and be happy about it. I've been through it. I was going to some job opportunity and I didn't get the offer letter. Someone else got it. That doesn't mean if I just talk to you as a coach and telling you to be happy about it. It's not, because if you think about it, those jobs that's not uh, they did not select you. Later on, you will find out that was not a suitable for you. That was not a good fit for you. And you'll be thanking the fate and thanking the universe that you did not end up with that bad dysfunctioning team just because the title or the money was higher than what you're making right now. So a
yeah.
lot of time those failing, actually, I always what they say, um, God, life's rejection is God's protection. Like when
Mm,
life rejects you somehow, God is protecting you from something, and it's the universe. If even if you don't believe in God, but the universe protecting you for something higher. So you
right,
take it personal the first time, and you said, "Oh, I did not being picked for this job because I'm not good enough." No, you are not a fit for that job. You have
right.
not been meant to be part of that you know, company or corporate or that team. There is something better for you that suit your skills and charisma and your background. And it's happened to me. It was never rosy. It was never easy. I mean, I've been in jobs that I interview for, and the people who've been selected, they were they did not have more skills than me, but they have other skills that complement, right? Their background or their degree. So it's always something good out of those lessons. There's always something you can take with you and say, next time when I'm entering this venue or this project, I will propose to it or I'll present myself in a different way. It's hard to tell this to someone who's in their 20 because
Yeah.
they think the degree is everything. Again, degree is a plus, but you need other skills. You need communication skills. You
Yeah,
need sales skills. You need to how to sell yourself. I mean, not necessarily you are a businessman or businesswoman. People think, no, even if you are in technology, you are selling your skills, you are selling your personality, you're selling your resume. When you go to those interviews, you are not selling a product, but you are selling yourself as a leader, right? So how they
right.
can make you a leading a team if you are not able to sell your skills and your background? So you need a communication, you need active listening, you need to be able to talk about finance and money and negotiation and also dealing with difficult people because at the workforce you being in corporate and corporate you know what I mean, you will deal with a lot of difficult people that's in your mind. You wish if you can just smack them right during the work, but you just hold it back. You're an ethic. You are a leader. You said, okay, I'm gonna, you know, take a pause here. I'm gonna call that person and speak with them in a professional way. So you have to have that resilience and patience and ability to listen to others, how to
Yeah,
fit in, how you can fit in an organization that has so many different personality. There's a
right.
lot of people I see it when I connect with people on LinkedIn. You'll see their LinkedIn is amazing. I mean, their background, their degree, their actually title, it's longer than their bio. This is how many certification and degree they have. But when you meet them in reality in a staff meeting or in a consultation in engineering or any meeting, they don't have that skills to communicate with you. And you
Right.
will wonder, is that the same person? I read their LinkedIn. The LinkedIn looked amazing, but they're not even able to elaborate on a statement in a STEM or engineering. And you'd be like, then they need more skills. They
Right.
need more skills. They need to go back and see what is missing and able to be an effective leader. You have to go through those soft skills in order to be effective.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of interesting to have those conversations when, as you said, you're expecting something because of their LinkedIn profile. And and if they don't know how to actually make things happen, that um I've this sounds horrible, but the people that I've found that have been the best communicators and people who executed and got stuff done,
Yes.
most of the time they're the ones with the least amount of education, of
Yes.
like documented education, right?
Yes. Yes. Totally.
They're they're the Palmer Luckey,
Yes. Yes.
who dropped out of college after a year to
Yes.
build a business, was a billionaire at 20,
Yes.
and he still I don't think he has a degree in anything, you
Yes,
know?
yes, totally, totally. So, if I may ask you, Bill, will you mind if I give your audience a free or complimentary checklist in the show note?
Oh,
Is
yeah,
it?
totally fine, of course,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be
So,
awesome.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm going to send when you publish the episode,
mhm.
I will have a QR code for the very ultimate 3 steps to be an effective leader. And
Ooh,
this I
cool.
generate those 3 steps, and I only it was 6. I make them 3 because after the third bullet, people lose the interest and the patient to learn something. And
Yeah,
those 3 skills, which I'm going to put on the checklist for your audience, it's is the result of 35 years of engineering, working in
mhm,
Middle East and United States, which is totally different. I did not generate this 3 steps to be an effective leader just because I excel at my current job. I created from all the other lessons that I learned from small company, big company, the county, the government, right? You learn at every job, even the job you hate the most, you learn
right.
the most.
Yeah,
I
yeah, totally.
always find out the most job you hate is the most job that you learn a lot about yourself and others.
Yeah,
And you learn the skills, and when you go to the next job, you remember what you've been through. So you're not gonna repeat the same mistake
right,
you have done
right.
as a leader. Yes.
No, I 100% agree with that. It's funny, I think one of the pieces for leadership that's so undervalued is self-awareness.
Yes.
To be able to to know yourself well enough to understand your own reactions when you are in a meeting or having a conversation, because without self-awareness, you don't have really good other person awareness.
Yes.
And I've found that the the people that are challenging, right? Um, fully admit to being Machiavellian when I say this, but you can hack their heads if you can start to really understand where they're coming from, um, and understand what their incentives are.
Yes.
And that that requires, at least in my experience, starting off by knowing my own incentives
Yes.
and then being able to go, Okay, let me figure this person out. Let me be curious." And once I understand their incentives, then they're not so hard to deal with anymore, because all of a sudden I'm talking to them in their language,
Yes.
and then they wanna say yes a lot.
Totally. And you
Yeah.
said the magic word. You said curious. When you
Oh,
are
yeah,
curious to know what's the person in front of you
yeah,
trying to tell you, as a leader, when you have team member, don't go to those meetings assuming you know everything about them. You said about the self awareness and being curious, right? Because that person, when
exactly.
you as a leader, to listen to them. Sometimes they are stressed out at work and they lose that fire to come to work because they feel that their voice is not being heard. So when you listen to them and you call them to your room and said, "Tell me what is bothering you." Sometimes all they need someone to listen to them, to see what's really bothering them, why they are not effective anymore, why they lost the spark coming to work. Where is that fire is gone? They used to be very motivated when they come to work. So being curious to know about your team member as a leader and set as a role model. I cannot call someone who just graduated from engineering school telling them what to do, telling them to be, active at work and be on time. And I'm the one who lacking those skills. I have to
Right.
be a role model to them because
Yep.
by them watching me, what I do, not what I say, it's like parenting. Like, how
Right.
come
Oh,
I
yes.
can raise my daughter to be a good citizen if I am lacking a good skills or principles, right? It's same like parenting.
Yeah,
Team building no different than parenting because on the both side, Bill, you are a role model. And if you are not a role model, you cannot be an effective leader because
exactly.
people will call you out for it. They said, okay, you want me to be an active listening, but you are not listening to me. So how can I be an active listening and you as a leader or the team lead, you are not able to listen to my needs. So it's a skill, it's curiosity, it's patience. And also, I feel, and again, I learned this as I age, doing engineering for so many years. Um, Most of the time, especially at work, when everyone's stressed, everyone trying to, point finger, it's your fault, it's my fault, and start become stressed out. Sometimes you don't need to respond because then you're going to respond out of emotion. You need to reply to the need, not to respond to the need. Same thing with email. Sometimes out of blue, you get an email with a harsh language or someone being nasty to you, not even knowing the background or the fact what's happened and why you have done it certain way. So as human by default, we want to respond bad, like, okay, let me show them who I am. How dare that person send this nasty email to me at 8 o'clock in the morning? Let me show them the other half of my face. And no, from experience, sometimes I feel by pause and not to respond right away, not responding. You need to reply in a professional way. Let that email sit for a little bit. And many times those emails resolve itself by time. Like by noon, you will find out the person who was CC or chief engineer or your vice president. They will defend you, and you don't even need to reply back to that person who was rude to you. There will be somebody else who's going to take your side and defend your side. So sometimes by default, I feel like we human beings, we feel like we have uh, need to respond and to reply to everything. And I learned this in many, many occasions, even in personal life. Not everything will deserve your energy. Not everything deserve your time and your struggle by responding and complaining and trying to explain why you have done certain things. If you are confident about your act and your action, your work and your action, like you said earlier, your action will speak up for your work. So by me coming and trying to explain and justify my action will not change anything. If I done a certain action at work as a leader and I back it up with facts and numbers and manual and rules and specification, there will not be so many rooms for challenge. But if
Right.
I just show up in the room and act, I'm a leader because I said so, because I've been in engineering for so many years, nobody will take you seriously. You
Yeah.
have to, you have just like your podcast name, it's attract me right away. The 40%, I was like, I like numbers. I like things with facts, statistics.
Mhm.
I want like data, right?
Right.
Renee Brown always say, if you have no data, that's mean you're making assumption. So
Right.
without data, if I don't have data about your background, I'm making assumption about you, and
Right.
that's not correct. You need a data, you need facts. And when you go to those big room and big meeting with, especially with engineers, when you back up your knowledge with data and facts and numbers and date, people will take you seriously.
Right.
People say
Right.
you don't mess with that person because they know their numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's you mentioned something earlier about, not and I'm paraphrasing, but it's about n not needing to be the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
And one of my mentors uh, years ago, when I was very early in my leadership journey, made a comment about how and this is a guy who's very successful entrepreneur. He multiple businesses. I think every one of them did well. Um, and he said that it was never his job to be the smartest person in the room. It was his job to hire people who were really good in these different areas and then set them up for success.
Yes.
And when I started running a software team for him, um, he said, "Look, you got people that are really smart. Don't try and outsmart them
Yes.
because that group of people is always going to be able to, in aggregate, outperform you. You can't write more code by yourself than they can do, you know."
Yes.
And
Totally.
he
Totally.
said, "Make them super successful, and you will be successful because they're all being successful." And so I realized that getting them, and this kind of goes back to one of your points earlier, getting them to be comfortable always speaking up,
Yes.
creating that environment of psychological safety and no judgment um and everybody contributes
Yeah. Yeah.
was such a critical element
Yeah.
because one person would say, what about if we do blah blah blah, right? And someone else would go, oh my god, that's so good. And can we do this little tweak that might make it better? And the first person would be like, I didn't think about that. Yes, that's and so there was the collaboration that happened was so good, and I would just sit back on the side, and
Yeah.
watch it all,
And
and
watch it all. Yeah.
yeah, and because I realized that one of the things that people really it it energizes them is when they have ownership,
Yes. Yeah.
and so when they come up with the idea and they're building their idea, they own it. It's not me telling them, "Go build this thing."
Yeah.
Right? Just facilitating, making it easy for them and, like, "Here's the direction we have to go." Right?
Yeah, you're building the trust and rapport with them in a way to complete the puzzle with you because the puzzle
Yeah.
has the frame and the middle, the colorful side or the plain side, and when each one work on that puzzle, to complete that puzzle, we'll take the ownership and the celebration all together. So you can't just come say, I complete all the puzzles because I'm the leader. No, you might
Yeah.
be guidance, but there was someone who put the whole puzzles together as a frame. Then they work on the middle, they work side. So, like you said, when you give them the ownership and the trust, they feel that they will always do their best
Hmm.
because they see
Yeah.
their contribution making a difference. And
Yeah.
when a team member, like you said, when you become a leader and one of the team member love technology, you put them on the technology side, but other team member, they love research, put them on research. Another team member like to be on site, hands on the factory, doing mechanical things. Let them do the thing that they really like. Because
Yeah.
if you put them on the places they don't belong to, the outcome will always be short because
Right.
your ego and mind say, no, I know better than them. No, you don't. You have to really ask them where they thrive. What is their hidden talent at? What they really see themselves the best. And you will surprise some of those engineers will tell you, and I've seen it, the younger engineer, they said, I'm an introvert. I don't like to speak up in staff meeting. Great. Let them do research, do planning, do other things in the background with paper. Some engineer, they tell you they love AutoCAD. They just like to be on IT designing the ribbon. Great, put them on those technology software. You can't
Right.
just assign things to them because you think that's the best for them. You have to ask them the question: where you like to contribute, where you like to have an ownership, and I trust you that you're going to deliver this the best way I I expect you to, because that's what you thrive at. So
Yeah.
it's come all from experience. It doesn't come from reading one book or two books. You have to
No.
go through
No.
this experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the thing that you're talking about, intrinsic motivation, right, is such a it's such a powerful motivator. And I've always, like one of the things that I've always done in one-on-ones is, what are you curious about?
Yeah.
You want to be doing next? And if they're like, "Hey, I'm really happy doing this thing," and I'm like, "Great," and I'm going to ask you again in a few months, and if you change your answer, let's figure out how to help you get there.
Yes.
Um, because I want them, like, I never want anybody to feel burned out because they're working on stuff that they don't wanna be doing.
They don't want to be doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want their energy 100%. And when
Yeah.
they speak about the part they really love to do, you will see the body language change. They will
Right.
be sparking their eyes, their eye lit up. They'll be like, yeah, I love to do that. And right
Yeah.
away, you see that switch in their energy and their body language, that they're telling you exactly what they love to do because you, as a leader, you're curious to ask them what they really love to do. You
Yeah.
don't want that light to dim that light. You don't want them to be all like, um, uh, depressed and not wanting to come to work. You want to keep that, fire on them in order to give their best to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, what I'm curious because you mentioned, you've worked in the Middle East as well as in the US and that they're different. Um, I've never worked in the Middle East. And I just realized as you're talking, like, I've had remote development teams all over the planet, but not in the Middle East. I just realized that. So like, what's different about working with folks in the Middle East versus South America, India, Pakistan, Russia, you know, America? Like, what are some differences that you notice right off the bat?
So if I talk about 30 years ago, it was different because I moved to US 30 years ago. So now I see they are westernized also. So like the knowledge and the technology, AI, it's all the same all around the world. And the technology and engineering evolve and change as well. But back then, when I was in Middle East in my 20, when I did construction, engineering was very by discipline, meaning I was a civil engineer, so I was only doing construction. I was not being asked to
Mm.
know a little bit about mechanical or about power, electrical, or about transit or system integration. But when I came to United States, I saw the difference that when you graduated from engineering school, it's not just one discipline you have to learn because you have to be comfortable with all the aspects. So speaking about me being in transit now, if I go to a meeting, they talk about the transit. I have to know a little bit knowledge about how they integrate the power, the ATC, the traction power, the track. I cannot just raise my hand and said, "Oh, I'm a civil engineer. I only know about construction." You have to have knowledge about the other discipline in order to complete the package or the puzzle as a leader. When I
Right.
was in Middle East, I was not obligated to learn other discipline. I was only a bachelor in civil engineering. I was only doing construction. I was only in the field doing survey and engineering estimate, knowing about steel and concrete and structure. But asking, my family back home now, they are telling me it's being changed as well.
Oh, good.
Engineering school now, they adopting a lot of Western, knowledge because of the AI, because the
Mhm.
technology and engineering evolved so much. They know that they have to cope with the change. They have to cope with the whole change happening around the world about, engineering is not only a degree. Engineering is not only being good in math. Back in my days when I was a teenage, my dad said, "Oh, you're going to be a good engineer because you are very good in math." That's not necessarily now. Now every skill can be obtained and acquired by practicing and repetition, right? So,
Yep.
but back then when you are good in math, they said, "Oh, you better to be an engineer because you are very good in math." But nowadays you see people, they are not very good in math, but they become a very effective leader in engineering and STEM because they
Right.
have other skills that complement that, right? So it's
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
changed, and now it's changed in Middle East as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's I don't know if this is just Silicon Valley thing, but people talk about being T-shaped, where you've got an area where you've got deep expertise, but
Mhm.
you've also got this lighter weight expertise in a bunch of other areas.
Yes.
And so you can code, but you also can talk about the business and understand sales and marketing. And
Yes.
you can talk to the CFO and understand their stuff and how the HR systems work and have those at a level, especially when you're moving into a leadership role
Yes.
where you can understand the business and how your team drives the business's success, that if you can only do one thing, you can't have that level of contribution, and
Yes.
it's to me, it seems like the people that are able to go the furthest in their careers, they have that T-shaped thing where they understand all these different places, and they can talk to people and all these different stakeholders in different parts of the business or even clients, and that needs to be taught more in engineering school.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I talked about this a lot with the George Washington University when I talked to them about doing more workshop with the younger engineer.
Mhm.
I was always telling them, you wonder why a lot of engineer during school years, especially their last 2 years, they lose the fire, they lose the motivation to be an engineer because they think the degree will open a lot of door for them. We need to bring that spark back. We need to talk to them about other skills. Don't let that engineer think that when they finish that engineering school, that they will make money right after that. They might make money, but they will not be effective. They will not make a difference. They will not have an impact. And I feel like again going back to the parenting, I feel like being a leader and being a mom, it's the same. But even when I'm a mom, I still do other duties. I still clean and cook and take care of my daughter and my son. I attend a concert with them. I go with my daughter to concert stuff because you want your team member along also with your kids. You want them to feel they belong to you, that you belong to their world. There is no
Right.
separation. You're not judging them because they are younger than they are less than you. We all need each other. Same thing with
Right.
leadership,
Right.
going back to mentoring those younger engineers. I always tell them, they say, "Oh, thank you for the mentorship. We learn a lot from you." I said, "No, thank you. I learn a lot from you too, because you are young, you're 26, you give me a different perspective." So by having that ethic communication with them in a way, make them feel they are making an impact, they are making a difference, they are part of the community, they are part of the puzzles. I always tell my daughter sometimes, she's like, Mom, don't make fun of me, but this is how I see um, this part of your business going. I listen to her because she's younger. She's this generation. She know what's really attractive on my Instagram. What's other things attractive on social media because I am not a social media person. But I ask her, and she study business marketing. So she this is what she studied in college. And by me going and telling her, no, I know better than you. I'm older than you. I know everything. I'm not gonna grow because I will be in isolation. I'm separating from her generation. And
Right,
if I
right,
don't listen to my daughter who's in her 20, how can I be a good listener to those mentees at the university? They're the same age. Yes, she's
right,
not an engineer, but she's the same generation. So she's expressing their emotions. She's expressing what they really love to do. So it's a matter of, again, like you said earlier, the curiosity. They're willing to
right.
listen, willing to give them a portion of that collaboration team so they can, you know, give you their best effort.
Yeah. Yeah, I it's funny, I one of the mental models that I've always approached leadership with is that people are doing the best they can with what they have available, and that they can learn other stuff and do better in other contexts, right? And so I think number one, having that approach allows us to have grace with people and patience,
Yes.
and because oftentimes what I bump into is, oh, there's pieces of knowledge, and especially when talking with stakeholders, because of my technical background, there's pieces of knowledge I have about how stuff works. And I'm sure you, same thing for you with building stuff, right? There's stuff that you know about concrete that I have no clue, right? I have no idea. Or steel or what, any of that stuff. But knowing that, oh, these people don't understand that, I've got to actually give them an explanation, a framing, and not be impatient about it, right? And I have to be able to to paint the picture for them. I think that's one of those things that I'm hoping that the younger generation is better at, because I think they're better at storytelling. At least my kids are better at
Yes.
storytelling than I was when I was in my 20s.
Yes.
Um, and the areas where I struggled to think about how do I explain this to people, I'm really happy they don't seem to have that struggle, and I'm
Yes.
like, "Oh, that's a huge win."
Yes. Yeah. I
Um,
see that. Yeah. They are
you
more
know
direct too. They are more direct. We tend to give a lot of introduction and we try to be nice and diplomatic, not hurt people's feeling. They are not. They just go direct to the point. Like I
right,
see them, my son and my daughter, when they're trying to um, come across and telling me their, point of view about something, they don't sugarcoat it. They don't try to be diplomatic. They are not rude, but they are very direct,
right,
very genuine. Like they tell you in a plain English, very precise and concise what they want. But I feel like my generation, we we seek validation. We try to make everybody satisfied. We try to be
yeah,
diplomatic. We try to be, oh, I'm older. I have to be nice. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's okay. Be kind and you know talk about your point, but you can be direct as well, like this generation. Like I see my
yeah.
daughter, she's more brave than me. When she
Oh, nice.
trying to say something, she bravely said, Mom, this is
Yeah,
how I see it. I'm like, whoa. It take me like 15 minutes to put that word together because I give introduction and I try to be, diplomatic and in case someone misunderstand me. She's no, Mom,
yeah.
just be it this way. Just
No,
be
I
plain,
like that.
plain English. Yeah, be direct. They are
Yeah,
more clear than us. Yeah.
yeah. It's one of the things that I noticed in my kids' education, they went to public schools here in
Yeah.
California, um, radically different from mine, is that both of my kids started doing presentations using, I think Google Slides,
Yeah. Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
I I
Very
think when they were
early.
in a freshman in high school.
Yes, very early. I remember my daughter when she showed me, I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, and, fortunately, by the time they had started doing that, I'd been doing a lot of presentations,
Yeah.
um, and it had some coaching on how to be more effective,
Yes.
um, and I was able to give it to them, but I think about, like, their comfort now and as much as people might complain about schooling in California, the fact that they can go do those presentations and be completely comfortable and relaxed about it
Yeah.
is it it's a huge win in my mind.
It is. It is.
Um,
It is. Yeah.
and I'm kinda
Teenage. Yeah.
jealous.
It is during teenage and high school being comfortable, like you said, to be on stage. They speak up in front of
Yeah,
other student, and they are not shy about making mistake as we used to do. But I feel like also they lack of patience because they don't.
yeah,
It's still lack of skills. Like the patient come with aging, and I always tell my kids, I said, just be more patient because of the technology and social media and AI. They want everything quick. They want everything right away, and I tell them, no, don't lose that sense of innovation. Try to do things by hand because that has a magic on it as well. So I remember back in my school days in engineering, we used to design everything by hand. The traffic light, the intersection, the structure, the bridges, everything was like math calculated. So we were using our brain a lot. Now it's more apps. They put those numbers on the app, on the
mhm,
software, and they click enter, and the design will pop up, which is
right,
good. I'm not against technology. You cannot be against technology, but it should have still some component of innovation. You still want the generation, including us, not just the younger generation, even our generation, still book some space for innovation and new ideas because I
mhm,
feel people get old when they stop creating new ideas. You will start aging when you are not innovating. You don't age when you hit 50 or 60 or 70. You age when you said, "Oh, life is boring. Let me just pick up a paycheck and just, watch Netflix and have a nice dinner." That's a boring age life. But if you
yeah,
leave that innovation, that curiosity, like you said earlier, like always new ideas. What is that idea is going to take me? And it might not take you to $1 million project, but at least you have that space in your mind. You are thinking about innovation. You're thinking about new ideas. And I think the very first word in my LinkedIn is innovation. I love that word because I always want to think about a new way to do things. I don't want it
mhm,
to, and you will find out, Bill, in every company, people tends to go to that one person who fixed the problem in a different way. They don't copy paste the way from the manager, the person who was before him. When they use a different way to fix the issue, people say, "Oh, he's innovator. Oh, he has new skills. Oh, let's go and see how he fixed it or she fixed it." And I love that. I like to find other way to solve something. I don't want just to copy paste somebody else.
right. It's back to curiosity,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes.
It's that, "Oh, what am I gonna learn?"
Yes.
Um, and I yeah, uh yesterday I was talking with somebody and I mentioned, um, how boredom has impacted my career, and I've made changes because I got bored, and I was like, and boredom happens when there's nothing there that grabs curiosity anymore,
Yeah.
and for me, uh, that's a real problem. Like, my head needs I need to have that magnetism of curiosity pulling
Yes.
me.
That's what is keep you going
Yeah, oh, totally,
in
yeah,
life, interest in life, to learn more, to experience, travel, know other skills, know other people. shake
Yeah.
hands with new people and see what can learn from them.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's it starts off with curiosity and then it's, oh, I want to go build whatever. Right. Um, and, and for me, that's always been, I think I, I, I think because I spent so much time at startups, to me, that just seems like I started my career in Silicon Valley at a startup, and then I went to another startup, and then I went to another startup, and then I went to a big corporate company,
That makes sense. Yeah.
and then when I left there, I went to another startup.
Yeah.
So so, um, but the curiosity thing I found to be really such a driver of success, and then, like, when I went to Google, one of the things that was so interesting there was the problem that I got hired to solve, completely solvable.
Mm.
However, the people that said that you couldn't solve it weren't curious.
Yeah.
They just looked at the problem and said, "Oh, we can't solve it."
Yeah.
The subtext being because they didn't know how to solve it.
Yeah.
And so, which to me, I was fascinated, like, at a particular level, like, especially when we figured out how to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Um,
That's so interesting. And that's you said a startup because you went to those startup with the passion and the move that I have to make it happen is a startup.
yeah,
When
yeah,
it's happened and when it's scale, you'll be like, wow, now I can do the
yeah,
next one. But if it's a
yeah,
boring job, if you just go to a desk and you just do data entry with all respect to all kind of jobs, you are not growing, you are not evolving because your mind is not exercising. This is why
right,
even they said in medical now, dementia, they want to push that dementia age to a certain, they said after 65, they recommend people who start losing their memory to learn a little bit a different language because the alphabetic will make your brain exercise just like lifting weight. So by me learning another language at my 60, I'm exercising my brain, so my brain will not age and dementia will not show up
right,
early.
right,
So
yeah,
startup the same. I mean, not everything was easy for you, I'm sure, but you have that mindset saying, "No, I'm gonna go. It's a startup, so I better to make it happen because if
yeah,
I don't make
yeah,
it happen, the next owner or the next idea owner will not hire me to build another company with him because I
right,
failed the first time." And the person who saw that this is not uh, 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 you can figure it out or is not there is no solution for it, they did not even try, they did not even make
right,
a try. You just need to try and error until you find a way. So you're
yeah,
exercising your brain by doing those things, and it will get easier when you take the risk. I mean, I feel like I never grow in my career without taking big risk. I remember in my theory, when I started the project in L3 and they said I have to be in charge of the field activity, I was in my theory. I didn't know how to deal with Homeland Security or Boeing. They were our client. But I just jumped to the experience. I said, I'm just going to learn. And I feel like every time I grow when I did the scary things. Like I never grow when I was very comfortable doing my job. I always
yep,
grew. I always become a better version of myself when I done something that's really scared me to death. And I
right,
still remember I came back home and I told my husband, I said, no way I can do this job. They said I have to be in Arizona, I have to be on the border in Mexico. I'm doing survey in a very harsh, environment. The client is Boeing. I have to be very, very, very careful about my numbers. I said, no, I'm just gonna say I'm not gonna do the job. He said, I think you can do it because it scare you. And if it scare you enough, I came out of that job 10 times a better engineer because I challenged my brain, I challenged my ability. And
yeah,
I have to admit to you, I was scared to death. The very first meeting I had with Homeland Security and Boeing, I felt like I cannot even breathe because I was so scared to open my mouth. But it's got better. It's got better. I gained the knowledge.
yeah,
Then I study more. Then I know the number more. Then I was at the field more, more activity at the field, and it's get better. But by
Yeah.
you just avoiding the experience in startup or any job, you're saying, "Oh, I'm not going to get to that because I'm not familiar with it 100%." Well, if you are familiar with it 100%, you will never grow. You want to be familiar with it zero, because after you are familiar zero, you come out of that things a better version of yourself. And this is how you don't age.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's I 100%. It's interesting because you talk about risk, and I think that's another one of those things that should be in engineering school from the perspective of if you want a good career track, you have to be willing to go and take risks
Yes.
and, um, and understand that y as you said at the very beginning, no one's gonna die, you
No
know?
one's gonna die. You have to
Yeah.
take that
So
risk. Yeah.
yeah, and there's always, um, you can work late to solve the problem kind of scenarios,
Yeah.
and so I can't God, I've had so many of those in the course of my career where, we were doing something, there's no such thing as 0 risk, it just doesn't exist.
Yeah. There is a risk. There
So
is a percentage. Even if you
yeah.
speak on stage for the first time. I remember I was not a speaker when I started my business, my side business. The very first time they asked me to speak on stage, it was about women empowerment. And I spoke fine on staff meeting about engineering, science. These are like the babies that I've been doing for 30 years. But when they asked me to be on stage speaking for a group of women about women empowerment, how to start a business, I remember I went to the stage with all the knowledge and experience I have. I forgot my name. And the
Yeah.
lady who recruited me, she was waving to me like, hello. I'm like, oh my God, why I'm here? I literally start thinking about what to cook for dinner because I was in different island. Like I got so scared. I was like, why am I on stage? Right?
Right.
I got so scared because it was a new things to me, but I took the risk,
Mhm.
the risk, and I speak up fine after that. Now, when I speak on stage, I'm much better. I'm not Les Brown, I'm not Tony Robinson, but I'm much better when I spoke the first time, right? The first time I start thinking about dinner, right? Because I forgot my name.
Right, right.
Now
That's
I'm comfortable. I'm more
right.
comfortable on stage because I took the risk. I said, no, I am scared,
Yeah,
but I'm still going to do it.
yeah,
I'm still scared. I'm still not 100% sure that my message will be compelling and I'll captivate everyone in the audience. There will be still people who's going to be on their phone and get bored about my speech, but I'm still going to do it. I'm more
yeah.
comfortable. So that
Good.
apply to anything, to job, to project, startup, a new job. If you don't take the risk, if you are not having the tenacity to do it anyway, you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, yeah. One of the it's yeah, it's so interesting. One of the things that we talk about is how things are only scary the first n number of times you do it.
Yeah.
Um, and what people don't think about is that when you do something 5 times, you're way less nervous than you were the first
Yeah.
time. And
Definitely.
after you've done it 20 times, if you're being deliberate about it, you're like, "Oh, yeah, now it's totally easy, it's a cakewalk, it's not a big deal,"
Yeah,
right?
definitely,
But
definitely.
most people don't because they don't have a good mental framework around the value of risk. As soon as they see that there's a risk, they're like, "I can't go there,"
Yeah,
right? Because they can't control it. So,
yeah.
yeah, I think
They
that's
think it's
again
the end for them. If they fail, it's the end. It's not the
yeah,
end.
yeah,
You
it's not
even
yeah,
took the risk. Take the risk, right? You gain the experience. When I become a mom the first time I had my son, I was never mom before, right? So I made a lot of
right,
mistake parenting him and raising him alone, right? But when I had my daughter, I felt like I'm an expert. I started giving advice to other women, like I have 12 of them. I only have two. But I started giving advice like, why I'm even giving advice? I only have two babies. But after the first one, it's become easier because I haven't made the same mistake
mhm,
when I raised
yeah,
the first child. Same
yeah,
thing with jobs, same thing with startups, same thing with speaking gigs, starting a business, changing your niche, changing your
mhm,
project. You're not going to repeat the same mistake unless you are willing to repeat the same mistake for whatever reason, right? No one is
Right.
willing to do that. But it's all come from experience. And I feel like, and I say this to also, especially to the mentees, to the younger engineers, um, in order to gain that confidence, you cannot gain that confidence by pretending confidence. Like you go to the room and said, I'm just going to put my shoulder back and I'm just going to dress up nice and I'm going to have that solid look on me and everyone will take me seriously. No, those confidence seriously come being competent. If you are not competent, people will sense it, Bill. And you know that very well. You work in big
Yeah.
company. I can't just
Yeah.
deceive you and cheat the audience saying, I am confident. Well, there is smart people. They're going to see that I'm shaking, right? My voice is shaking. My hand is shaking, right? But if I am competent, my body language will say this person is confident because I'm already competent in what I'm doing.
Right.
I have the qualification, I have the skill sets. I've been through it. So when I enter that room, nothing will shake me, right? But you
Yep.
cannot fake it. And I tell the student, I said, don't think that you're reading a book or listening to seminars and nothing wrong with that. You're listening to those motivational. I'm not against motivational speaker or anything, but without you taking action, that motivation will take you only this far. You want to
Right.
take the action. You want to take that risk. You are motivated to speak. Okay, have you spoke? No. Then how are you going to be a speaker if you don't speak? It's the action. They say action breeds confidence. If I'm not
Yep.
taking action, how I'm expecting my confidence will be built? I have to take those action, and those action come with risk.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's on 100%. That's yeah, it's you gotta take the risk, you gotta do the action, especially if you're being a role model as a leader, that's you gotta be out there doing it so people can see that it can be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. This has been awesome. Thank you so much. I think we'll end on that note. I really appreciate this, and for those of you that are listening, um, check out the QR code
Yes.
for, um, the
That-
3 leaders, uh,
yes.
frameworks.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will definitely. Yes, definitely.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah.